So we ended up seeing this corrective move to the downside play out on XLM over the past few days. And this is following on from my previous update where I mentioned that there was potential for this fifth wave to be made up of a expanding ending diagonal. And I was looking out for this fifth wave to then complete the third wave, where that third wave had the potential to tap into this region between 53.95 cents to 57.86 cents. And here you can see that we ended up losing the lower trend line, which then led to this move to the downside, where we also breached past this local low at 43 cents. And so because we ended up losing this level at 43 cents, that then meant that the expanding ending diagonal structure was invalid. And instead, what ended up happening was the fifth wave truncated and topped off at 52.06 cents. And that then completed the third wave. And so what I'm looking at for right now is for XLM to be within this fourth wave to the downside. And we'll see that final push to the upside to complete the fifth wave. And so what I do is I'll remove this since we no longer need it. And yeah, despite the fifth wave not tapping into this region here, we still met the minimum requirement, which is a double top. So essentially what we needed was for XLM to reach this level here as a minimum requirement at 51.66 cents. And we ended up exceeding that level. And so this fifth wave is still valid despite not tapping into that region. And so yeah, it's possible that the third wave is now complete and we are now within this fourth wave. And we have this correct move to the downside that's forming right now, made up of a WXY structure. And this Y wave typically retraces anywhere between 1 to 1.236 of the W wave. So what I do is I'll bring in the Fib tool and check to see if the Y wave has met the typical requirements. So here we reached 49.4 cents. So if I bring that down to over here, and that region sits between 41.19 cents to 42.65 cents. And here we ended up reaching 40.09 cents. And so it's possible that this WXY structure is now complete. And of course, we never retraced towards the 1.618 level, which tells me that this move to the downside is not an impulsive move, but instead it's a corrective move. And so the next key target for XLM would be the 50 to 88.2% retracement of this wave structure here. And so if I bring in the Fib tool once again to over here, and so that region sits between 45.68 cents to 50.48 cents. So if I just make sure that that's in the right position, and there we have it. And so yeah, if XLM was to exceed this level here, then it's possible that we ended up bottoming out at 40.09 cents to complete the wave 4, and we are within the wave 5 to the upside, where we then breach past the local top at 52.06 cents. However, if we get rejected within this region, then it's possible that we have a bigger WXY structure that's forming, where of course this WXY structure will form the W wave, and then we'll have the X wave that forms, followed by a fan push to the downside to complete that Y wave. And as far as this wave 4 goes, this wave 4 typically retraces anywhere between 23.6% to 50% of the wave 3. And so if I bring in the Fib tool to over here at the wave 2, and bring that to the local top. And so the wave 4 has the potential to reach anywhere between 34.06 cents to 42.61 cents. And we have met the minimum requirement. And so again, it's possible that the WXY structure is now complete to complete the wave 4. And then we get to see that fan push to the upside. So if I set this region, so the wave 4 has the potential to tap into this region here. And we'll then see that fan push to the upside to complete that wave 5. And you can also see that on the stochastic RSI on the 4-hour chart, the bears are now slowly starting to lose that momentum. And so at some point I will be looking out for that reversal to the upside. And it will actually be interesting to see if we can retest the 200 DMA and then get a bounce from there on to the upside, where we can then begin to track the wave 5. And as far as the 8-hour chart goes, you can see that we are within the oversold conditions. And we have been in the oversold conditions since the 15th of July. And what's interesting about this is We never actually saw the bulls regaining momentum, and despite the bulls not regaining momentum, we still managed to breach past the local top at 51.66 cents, where we reached 52.06 cents. So what that tells me is there is still more room to the upside, and this could be a good opportunity to be buying in. And you can see that we actually are finding support at the 50 EMA, which is obviously a good thing. And we also have a weak high that's being signaled on spot money concept. And so we are still bullish as things are at the moment, and it's looking likely that we breach past this level here. And if I quickly go on a daily chart, again, you can see that the bears are slowly starting to lose that momentum. And even if we see that deeper move to the downside where we retest that 50 EMA at around 34 cents, I will still be looking for that push to the upside where we can then begin to track the wave 5. And assuming that we ended up completing the wave 4, the wave 5 will typically retrace anywhere between 1.226 to 1.618 of the wave 4. So if I bring in a fib tool, and so here you can see that the wave 5 has the potential to reach anywhere between 55.37 cents to 61.18 cents. And so that would then complete the wave 5. And then shortly after, I will be looking out for that reversal to the downside, where we could see a even bigger retracement. And that's something I'm going to be tracking. And of course, I'll be keeping you guys updated. And so that's just my update on XLM. Hopefully you found it useful. And if you did, then feel free to hit that like button. And if you're new, feel free to subscribe. Take it easy, people. Peace.